Yeah, hi there. This is MrBuckhff from BetterToeflScores.com. Hi, Akmal. This is Michael. I'm going to go ahead and read your comments, give you some suggestions here. You say, hello, Mr. Buckhff. I'm taking the TOEFL test on July 15th, 2011. I'm confident in myself on 3 sections except the reading one. It's very hard to make a good score in this section because it has many difficult words, which is hard to understand. Every day I'm learning 10 words from your 1700 TOEFL words, but I did not end it still. For me, there's only 1 week left to take the TOEFL test. What do you suggest me to do? Should I keep learning the words before the TOEFL test, or should I just read books and prepare for the reading section? And if it's not hard to tell me the secrets of getting good scores on reading section and thank you. Alright, Akmal. The bad news is, I got good and bad news. The bad news is there's really not a lot you can do in 1 week that'll make a huge difference in your overall reading score. Unfortunately, reading is something that you have to spend an extended period of time doing. You have to read extensively, study vocabulary, and do this over several months, even a year or so, before you have a really good solid foundation of vocabulary and reading comprehension that would help you to get a really good score on the TOEFL test. So what I would recommend at this point, if I were you, I would postpone taking the test. I mean, what's your hurry? I mean, it's going to cost you $150 to take the test, and if you're not ready, I mean, why not cancel your test and then spend maybe 1 or 2 months really working hard on your reading skills. I think you can make a big difference, and you can get a lot better than what you are right now, but I don't think that you need to, try to do all of this in 7 days. But okay, let me give you some suggestions first of all. Okay, with these 1700 TOEFL words, number one, I recommend that you purchase my 7-step system to pass a TOEFL test. If you haven't done that already. Now, specifically, what you want to focus on is TOEFL Vocabulary Lesson 3 and TOEFL Vocabulary Lesson 4. Now, with Vocabulary Lesson 3, this gives you some basic vocabulary words along with an ebook. So you'll have some listening practice tests as you do this course. You'll have some grammar practice tests, you'll have some reading practice tests, and it's over 100 pages long. And if you go through those pages, it'll really help build a good solid foundation of your vocabulary. But you probably cannot do that in 7 days. But I do recommend specifically TOEFL Vocabulary Lesson 3. Now, once you've gone through that particular lesson, and you feel like you really understand all the content that's taught in it, I recommend you go to the next area, which is TOEFL Vocabulary Lesson 4. Now, this lesson will focus on these words you're studying, those 1700 TOEFL vocabulary words. And what makes TOEFL Vocabulary Lesson 4 unique is as you study the words, you can take practice tests. You can take vocabulary practice tests, and these vocabulary practice tests are designed to help you improve in your areas of what's called antonyms, which means you get familiar with the opposite meanings of some of the words you study, but also you get very familiar with synonyms of the word you study. A synonym is a word which is similar in some way to the word you're studying. And also with those practice tests that you can take, I have some grammar practice questions to help test your knowledge of word forms of the words. For example, if you were learning the word analyze, you would also learn the word the form of the word analytical, analyzation. So it's a good idea to know the different forms of the same word, so then you know how to use them in different speaking and writing contexts. But in addition to those TOEFL vocabulary lessons, I also have in my TOEFL reading lessons, I have some specific lessons which will be very useful for you this week. If you do decide on taking the TOEFL test, I think it's TOEFL vocabulary lessons 2, 3, and 4. They focus on the different question types on the TOEFL reading section, and these particular videos will tell you how to recognize the question type and how to answer it when you see it on the TOEFL test. So if you think you need additional TOEFL test taking skills and strategies as they apply to the reading section, I would recommend those lessons. So really you kind of have to look at 3 different things right now that you have to do that's going to help you with your reading, and you understand what these things are, but remember that there's 3 things in terms of learning a new language. Number 1 is you have to practice the language over an extended period of time. Number 2, you need to be motivated, right? If you're not motivated, obviously you're not going to get any better. And the third thing is the exposure, is to make sure you practice, reading things, taking notes on what you read, and those kinds of things. So anyway, read extensively every day. I think you're already doing this, reading longer type books, reading academic type reading materials is very, very useful for you. I recommend about 45 minutes a day just reading pretty much anything you want, and doing this over a period of about 6 months, and that does seem to make a big difference in your reading. Now the second thing that you want to do, you already know this, is to study vocabulary. And the third thing you want to do is to learn the TOEFL test taking skills and strategies. So those would be my suggestions for you. So I think my main suggestion for you is to not rush taking the TOEFL test this week. If possible, cancel your test and then focus on building your vocabulary and your reading proficiency. And that way you'll have better comprehension, you'll have better reading speed, and ultimately you'll do better on the TOEFL test by doing that. All right, good luck to you.